bombs.
I pommeloed all over the floor.
That's what she said.
She's used to me pommeloing.
I wish I was recording that. That could have been the.
Yeah, actually, shall I press record?
No. Were you not listening earlier?
Don't worry about it.
You don't need to record. You don't need to record. You're fine.
Okay.
Right.
Fine.
D-bombs. D-bombs.
Studio.
Oh, hello.
I pommeloed all over the floor.
Just
okay, it's bad enough hearing myself back.
Yeah. I just pommeloed all over the floor.
I did. I'm still pommeloing everywhere.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to start the recording this.
I've never had a pink... This is a pink pomelo. I've never had a pink pomelo before.
I don't want to know about your pink pomelo and how you've pommeloed all over the floor. It's not interesting. It's not interesting content.
Do you know what? I watched some other person's podcast the other day, this afternoon, and they started off with some guy getting a DHL delivery.
What? Oh, really?
That's how they started off. It was like, oh, I've got a delivery. I've got to go. I was like, great.
Well, we've had deliveries whilst on the podcast before.
Yeah, but they edit their fucking thing to shit smithereens. We don't edit it.
That's probably them trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
They're old. They're like...
well, there we are then.
So what, you think they're trying to be edgy?
Yeah, they're trying to be down with the kids.
On the podcast before. Oh, wow, my internet's being a bit...
I've got to go onto YouTube.
Your internet. Low system resources.
Your internet's
Try closing some applications. Yeah, it is. Hang on, let me just close some applications because it's...
I was talking to Bez earlier. I was talking to Bez, my best mate, Tom, earlier. And he turned around and was like...
That's you, Tom,
He turned around, my best mate turned around and was like, your internet's like a potato. Fucking useless.
It's not as good as my description of Stroll the other week.
Right, what's that? Oh, yeah, is that the one that was on?
I think I said on Grid Talk, where I said he's... I think I said something like, Saul's like a tree, he sort of just exists.
Yes, you did. And then I made a bad pun.
Yeah, but trees are fucking useful. They give us life. Stroll does not give us fucking life.
No. His dad does, though.
I then came back with... I then came back with, he's not going to leave anytime soon.
What in the name of fuck was that?
That'd be your cat, Tom.
No, it's just
Why are you motorboating Max Verstappen?
Do not look behind you. Do not look behind you at any time, Tom.
Not my best angle.
If you see your head appear, your head's just going to drop down and be like... Oh, dear. Right. I'm just going to share out this live link on Grid Talk, see if anyone fancies coming and joining us.
Yeah. Because Tom's mate. How was your recording yesterday? Has that gone out yet, Tom?
Ours? Yeah. I think so. I heard that.
I heard some cat, yeah.
One mine.
I'm going live now. I wonder if my wife is good. Actually, my wife's still at work.
I just farted and it smells like pure asshole in here.
Yep, that's the play out. That's the play out right there.
Yep, there we go. Tick.
I think I just crop dusted.
Well, no, you've already got two, Tom, where you said you look like you're motorboating Tom and you're motorboating Max.
I've got normally I struggle. Since we started like putting everything out live, I've got a lot less outtakes, so it's because harder and harder to actually make something out of those like playouts. Right, 8:37. Should we?
That's the only reason. That's the only reason I listen to our podcast, for the outtakes. Work out which one you did this week.
Yeah. Did you see the one I did when Laura was on? That was to you, Carl.
Yeah, I don't think she understood it. Yeah,
it was just just the way she was just like, "Oh Jesus, Carol, go on." It was just quite.
Go
funny.
on.
Oh Jesus, Carol, go on.
Go on. Right,
how wonderful
I've stopped eating
Irish
my
way.
pomelo. Hang on, let me clear my
Okay.
mouth. No, I've all got pomelo between my teeth. Makes
Nice.
different from pubes. Anyway, right.
Do you have
There's no
do you
one
have
on
an
chat.
do you have an opening gambit?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay, better think of one now. then.
Um, 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 no, that's rubbish.
Mine's rubbish anyway, to be honest. You can tell it's the end of the season. Have you got the diary up, by the way?
Yeah.
Cool.
What's in heating's just kicked on.
We can't hear it, if that's any consolation.
I don't think he was too worried about hearing it. I think he was more worried about his thermalness. Is that
I just care about the audio quality, nothing else.
Yeah, no.
I am so confused.
Right, we will start in a minute. We're just waiting on Carl. I might just put you under pressure and start the title sequence.
Go on.
Oh, a big hit there from Fernando Alonso. 2 cars in one corner, and the Brits are lighting up this sprint race. Is that clock going slowly? It is, it's clock!
Did you watch those highlights, Carl?
Oh, God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard and is out. George Russell is the Formula 2 champion. Oh! Hinchcliffe with a big one. Big one.
Welcome to the Monkeyseat, the podcast that just loves making it up as we go along. My name is Tom.
And my name is Carl, who leave you alone right now.
We are a fully independent podcast hosted by two opinionated friends who like to put the world to rights.
That was wrong, wasn't it? What was the line on the back of Gimmicks Coke? Anyway, you can find us on all major podcasting platforms by searching the Monkeyseat Pod.
You can get in touch with us by leaving us a 5-star review and get a shout out on the show, or you can visit monkeyseatpod.com if you want to support us with cold hard cash.
Why do we do this every week? Can we not pre-record this? We're on all the socials at Monkeyseat Pod. Please get in touch and tell us why we're wrong.
Well, that's no fun if we just pre-record it. Plus, we'd never update it because we're lazy. We'd also like to acknowledge the great work of our partner charity, Furballs Rescue, who are continuing to do great work rehoming abandoned cats and need funding far more than we do. So head to Furballs Rescue.
While we talk about Furballs, Laura, my wife, you owe Furballs 10 quid. Anyway, she owes Furballs 10 quid because do you not remember why?
Oh, you put a bet on, didn't you?
She said that whoever's on pole will not win.
Yes, she did. Yeah,
that was so true for 57 laps. But the one lap,
by the way, if you haven't noticed, we've now got another voice in the room. A man who was so sought after, he was surplus to requirements of the Grid Talk season review. I could have bailed on that, and Tom could have come on. Anyway, I suppose he's a Welsh wizard. I don't know why. I'm the only one that was in Harry Potter. Mr. Tom Downey Jr., I guess.
Are you?
Is there Tom Downey Sr.?
Are you a Tom Downey Jr.? No, it's Robert Downey.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before. Top tech there, chaps. Yeah.
But anyway,
original.
Thank you for coming on, Tom, and thank you.
I try and be.
Oh, I've just realised you're wearing Monkeyseat merch, Carl. I just realised you're wearing your Monkeyseat merch. Yeah. I completely. I'm sitting here wearing representing wearing my Lando, but yeah.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
I say it's merch. You can't buy it. It's just stuff that I made for us. So you can't buy that. That is a limited edition hoodie he's wearing right there.
So Tom bought this for me because we ran out of the sale cost of the one he's wearing, and he thinks they're the same color.
Well, I ordered them and they're supposed to be the same color, but they just weren't, as you can clearly see from
blue and
it was supposed to
green or whatever it is.
No, it's like eggshell blue, but that was what that hoodie was advertised as, and it clearly isn't. It's like a royal blue, but hey ho.
Anyway, I'm glad that we've got Tom on because Laura's not here to defend Max, so we now have Super Max fan Tom Downey,
which you may have noticed.
Differentiate this. If you're on the
based on his background,
I've noticed. So at least it equals it up slightly because I don't give a shit, and Tom's a slight Hamilton fan, or Sir Hamilton, as we are now officially.
Sir Lewis, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't get that because he's been
Sir Lewis. Yeah,
he's been Sir Lewis for a year, but he's only just been like ordained. Is that the correct phrase? I'm not even sure. But he's only just
ordained.
Yeah.
He's not going to priesthood. He's definitely not becoming a priest.
Yeah.
Reverend Hamilton.
I didn't know if ordained was the correct phrase, but hey ho. But he's only just been like confirmed or whatever it is.
Father Hamilton. Oh Jesus. Anthony Hamilton pissing me off this weekend anyway.
I can't.
What is it with fathers and motorsport?
I don't know. You're just easily annoyed, which is ironic.
That man annoys me more than anyone. I'm sorry, coming from you that gets upset about Jos Verstappen.
Well, that's only because he's a vicious human being. Basically, I feel sorry for Max having a childhood with that father.
I think it explains a lot. And I
absolutely. No,
hang on. I said this. So Ruby the other day said that he was a wife beater or something. Is that true?
He's more than just a wife beater. He's been charged with attempted murder. He sounds like Max.
Sounds like Albon's mum.
He left Max Verstappen in a garage forecourt on the way home from a race once because he was upset with the way he was driving, like the way he performed. He's been known to like punch Max in the head in races when he was a child because he was not driving well enough. And I think
why his head's that shape?
Yeah, I think he's incredibly well adjusted considering that the childhood he's clearly had. I
think also, to be fair, Max's mum, Sophie Comfort, balanced it out a bit.
Yeah, Max's mum's phenomenal. She was a great racer.
Yeah.
Great karter. So like a championship karter, wasn't she? I think raced against.
Are they still together?
No, they separated about 2008, I think.
Yeah, and then
he was like, "Oh, they're still together." I was like, "I'm sure they're not."
No, they're not.
No. And then, Jos was done for like beating this woman, and then married her a few years later, and then divorced her a few years after that. So it's like, not a very nice human being from what I can tell. Never met the guy, but hey,
I walked into him in Hungary 2016.
Did he punch
literally?
You?
No, I did. I didn't even see him. I just full on shoulder charged him.
Oh. You should have taken a run up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
No, that's cardio.
When was this? 2016.
2016 Hungarian.
Max was just in.
Into Red Bull, yeah.
His first season Red Bull.
Yeah.
So is this when you became a fan of Max?
No. I was a fan of Max before then, but my friend was racing in GP3 that year, so I was there with him.
Cool. Who was your friend? Because I was watching GP3 that year.
Matt Parry.
Oh, okay. Don't remember him.
Won the feature race that weekend.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that race.
I was there.
Oh, cool.
Were you very drunk and hyper after that then?
A little bit.
I'm not surprised. Cool. Well, we had a season finale to end season finales pretty much. So should we jump straight into the review and the 2-minute challenge?
All you need to do is just play the last 2 minutes of the highlight section because there's nothing else that happens.
There was some stuff that happened, but not a vast amount because it's Abu Dhabi. It's not the most incredible race in the world. This one is going to be quite tight. I did cut quite a bit out after my initial cut. I'm not sure if it's enough or not. I haven't actually timed it, so
I've decided
find out.
that the race result was all Chandok's fault.
What, because of the changes he made?
Yes, because if he hadn't made any fucking changes, because he hadn't made in, well, this is what he was trying to claim anyway.
Yeah, because if 20 other people.
If he hadn't made any changes, then the race would have been boring because no one would have overtaken or done anything, and no one would have spun out. And it was one of the corners that he changed that they spun out, didn't they?
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, I'm sure let's remind ourselves.
Yeah,
if you haven't forgotten the craziest race of the season, well, no, it's third craziest race of the season. I'm changing my Christmas lights. Challenge.
Mercedes looked favourites in the early stages, with Hamilton passing Verstappen on the run down to turn 1. Verstappen dived alongside Hamilton, causing him to take evasive action and leaving the track. He retained the lead, and the stewards deemed him to have given back the advantage he gained and allowed the race to continue. Norris lost out to Sainz, who occupied 4th place, with Bottas dropping to 8th. Lap 14 and Verstappen's softs began to go off, and Red Bull pitted him for hard, spooking Leclerc off the track somehow. Hamilton, with a 6-second gap, followed suit, and predictably Perez was left out to mess with Hamilton's race, and mess with it he did. A 10-second gap from Hamilton to Max was reduced to just 1.5 in one lap, with a defence from Perez, which was a stunning tribute to his 2016 tactic against Rosberg. Raikkonen retired, literally, no one cared. George Russell also retired with an engine issue, saying goodbye to his Williams in disappointing fashion. Italian Jesus parked his car in a somewhat awkward place, causing a VSC. The gap was not big enough to keep track position, so Lewis stayed out. Max pitted and began chase, but it was obvious that he did not have the pace to catch Hamilton. 5 laps to go, cruising to an 8th world title for Hamilton, and enter Nicholas Latifi. He attempts to pass Schumacher, got dirt on his tyres and crashed into the wall, causing a full safety car. Max again stopped for scrubbed soft, and the Constantina train found himself just behind Hamilton and 5-lap cars. 4 laps of caution saw the track clear with 1 lap to go. Lots of radio lobbying about how the race should end saw Massey with 2 options: finish the race under caution, let the race restart with lap cars in the way. He opted for option 3, which is make up your own fucking rules and allow the cars between Max and call for safety car in a lap early. The inevitable happened, with Max having a clean run at Hamilton with a massive tyre advantage, and easily made it through to win the race and the championship. Lots of action behind was completely ignored in the end. Was completely ignored at the end result in a finale where the only winner could be Formula One. Formula One somehow lost. Well done, Massey. Well fucking done. Seems like I cut too much out.
There we go. Don't blame Massey.
There we go. I'll cut the sound
effect. Cut far too much out.
Yeah, I did cut too much out. Oh well.
Don't blame Massey.
Well, let's talk about it.
It's not Massey's fault.
Let's start with
where are we going to start?
Massey, and well, do you want to start with the first incident, and we can all have our say on that?
Was that
turn 4, turn 5?
Returning and not. No, right, that one right at the beginning.
The dive bomb at the beginning. Do you want to start us out, Tom, with your take on this?
Yeah, we know what Max is like when it comes to a dive bomb. Yeah, he will.
Have you ever watched that advert with John Smith with Paddy McGuinness? He is the ultimate dive bomber.
No, I haven't.
Not seen that. On your own there, Carl. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not Paddy McGuinness. It's what's his name? Who's the other Bolton twat that's not Vernon Kay?
Peter Kay.
Peter Kay. That's the one.
Yeah. Still haven't seen it.
Oh, right. I'm gonna have to drop it in some chat. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. No, I mean, we know what Max is like when it comes to a dive bomb for to take a position. Hamilton did somewhat leave the door open, and I think Max possibly got a bit desperate. I'm not entirely convinced Hamilton gave back a lasting advantage, but it paled into insignificance in the end. Because I think Hamilton would have, if Max would have overtaken him, or if Hamilton would have given the position back, I think Max would have kept it anyway. Max did keep it on the track, which is more than can be said for Brazil. And it's just like I don't even know what the rule is now for moves like that, because Brazil, we saw neither driver penalised. We saw no investigation necessary. Even Martin Brundle said he was surprised. So I don't know. But equally, Massey made up whatever the fuck he wanted this weekend anyway. So
yeah, for me.
Well, no. To be fair on him, Massey put that to the stewards, and the stewards decided that one.
No, it said no. It said no investigation necessary. Just like the Brazil one.
So it wasn't a Massey decision. He did put that forward to the stewards.
No, because Massey is not the stewards. If it says no investigation necessary, it means that Massey made the decision.
Oh, right. I thought the stewards had gone and decided. This is what I couldn't work out because it said stewards, no investigation from the stewards or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did wonder as to who that was.
Well, to be fair, what actually happens is, as they said before after Brazil, the stewards don't sit idly by and not pay attention to the race. So they didn't. Said the incident didn't warrant a full investigation, but the stewards would have looked at it and would have given their initial reactions, and then Massey would have made his decision based on the initial reactions. But anyway. there was no data looked at, there was no onboards investigated or anything like that, which is what happened in Brazil.
Yeah, which I don't understand as to, like Tom's absolutely right. Where is the line now, Downey? I'm not saying Horrocks is right. Where is the line nowadays? Like of like, how do you can't pass at all, but then what's the rules with Max giving the space Hamilton giving the place back to Max? Because does the nose have to be in front, the whole car in front? What is the fucking rules anymore? So, I don't think anyone really knows, do they?
I'm still fairly undecided on this incident myself. I think as it was, I was not particularly offended by the result of what they decided. But for me, the rule says that you have to leave a car's width on the outside if you're overtaking. The angle that Verstappen took going into the corner, he was only ever going for the edge of the track. He was never going to make the corner and leave a gap with the trajectory that he took going into the corner. But equally, Hamilton clearly left the door open there, and I think they've had this discussion where if he's leading going down that straight, clearly Verstappen's going to make a dive bomb because that's what he does. And they've worked out that the next corner is a right-hander. If you cut across the chicane and then just ease up a little bit and check back a little bit, then giving up at the advantage, then that should be enough. And I think that's exactly what he's done. Because if he's gone defensive there and then Verstappen's gone round the outside, he's going to have the inside lane for the next corner and then have a much better chance of overtaking. So I think he's purposely left the door open for Verstappen, saying, go on, have a go if you want. And then when he's ready for him, and then he just cuts the corner. As he's not stupid, Hamilton. He knows how to make situations look better for him. And I think that's what he's done there. I think that was a pre-judged situation where in this situation, this is what I will do. It wasn't a case of I'm getting out the way of an incident, like, spur of the moment decision. So I think that was very much something that he was intending to do if that situation arose. So he did check up. If you saw straight after the corner, he was, he looked like about half a mile up the straight, and he did check back, and they weren't side by side like they were going into the corner, but he did give back a lot of the advantage that he gained. And I do think that Martin Brundle is wrong in what he said, because I'm assuming he wasn't looking at the screen when Hamilton came out the corner, because he was way, way ahead. And then at the next corner, he was right back in front of Verstappen again. So I think he did give back at the advantage. But equally, it was, if he'd have made the overtake with that move and both cars had been on the track, then I would have been, absolutely for that. But again, if Hamilton stayed where he was, he's got a Verstappen-sized hole in his side pod. So, and then that clearly would be a lunge. So it's a difficult one. I'm still undecided as to what I think should have been the call there, but I'm not massively offended by what they did.
I do think part of this plays into the actual circuit as well, because had that been a circuit where there would have been grass or gravel or even the kind of run-off strips we have at Paul Ricard, there'd have been a different outcome. Because Verstappen would have put we might have even seen a Monza Part 2, because Verstappen would have put his car in a position where Hamilton would not really have been able to move. Yeah. And then, especially with the directives that we had for this weekend, we'd have seen all manner of, we saw kickoffs on Sunday anyway. Yeah. We'd have seen Toto going absolutely fucking knacker up and down the pit lane. And rightly so, I would have said, because it was a super late lunge by Max, and if you look at the first angle I saw, like the angle I saw on TV, I thought that's a brilliant lunge. But then I looked at possibly it was Hamilton's on board, and Hamilton did leave the door open, but it was just like nothing. And then Max just went, and he was just there. Yeah, and it was just like,
but if he left the door closed, he would have had a hole in the side of him.
Yeah,
Max was going to go for that in that first lap. And everyone knew that.
Yeah, of course. And it's just, I think because there's the runoff there at Abu Dhabi, that's why Hamilton just went yeet and just went wide. And
as I said, it was
because the worst he was ever going to give, the worst that was ever going to happen was him having to give the place back.
Yeah,
which wouldn't have made any difference really, because then he would have got the DRS straight after, and he would have been after him anyway.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't really have made much difference at that point.
No. I agree. It's a bit of a funny one, really. But I mean, again, I'm not massively offended by it. Clearly, Hamilton had the pace anyway. I don't think it would have made a massive difference. I think if Verstappen stays through, come lap 13, his tyres are going off, and then Hamilton just overcuts him to take the lead anyway. So I don't think it makes a massive difference in the end. And in fairness, looking back at how the race panned out, it may have actually been more beneficial to him if Verstappen was ahead, because then he goes long instead of covering Verstappen, and then end up in a different tyre.
If this completely went the other way, and Max and Hamilton had to give the space back, and everything else still happened, it would have been
Lewis would have won.
Potentially,
Lewis would have won.
Yeah.
And I've got
it would have been the same issue with the tyres and the way everything, the same thought process, strategic processes. It would have been the other way around.
I've got an interesting theory I want to share with you all later on, but I'll do it after we've kind of covered everything off, because then it's all in context then. It won't make any sense if I say it right now, but I'll share it at the end. What? But we then got onto the part
Is this a conspiracy theory?
Not a conspiracy theory, no. It's just
I've got one.
Yeah, cool. Well, we can definitely touch on that a bit later.
Have you been on Twitter again, Tom?
I don't have Twitter. I'd rather stick a cactus in my eye.
I know.
On Twitter. Honestly.
So I hear every 10 minutes on Slack.
Yeah,
I don't have Twitter. I hate it.
I do. It's fucking shit.
I don't have it either.
Good.
It's a very toxic environment, definitely. But hey ho, we will. I've
got an Instagram for my house being built. That's as exciting as I've got.
We've got an Instagram, which I never use. I posted something on the story a couple of days ago, but that's it. I want to start using that in the new year.
Was it?
But anyway, obviously lap 13, 14 comes along. Verstappen starts to tail off on his tyres, makes the early stop. Hamilton does the safe option and then stops to stay out ahead of him. He had a 6-second gap, so that was kind of safe, really. But yeah, I mean, I think that doing what he did there, it put him behind Perez on track, and Perez was always gonna try and slow him up. And 100%. I thought he was on the same tyres as Verstappen. He was never going to be able to compete with him pace-wise. I don't understand why they didn't just go long and overcut Perez to get him ahead of him, because he had the pace strong enough to do that, I think. But I guess they were just, if there was a VSC or a safety car, then it would have put him behind him on track. And they just seemed so nervous about having Hamilton behind Verstappen on track. They want to do everything in their power to keep him ahead. And that in the end has cost them, because that would have changed the race. Again, another situation, but again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But he would have been ahead. He would have been able to outpace Perez, because those soft tyres were just the wrong tyre to be on for that race, completely. Unless you're on the last lap after a safety car, of course. But anyway, Toso was lobbying Massey on the radio. Saying, "Oh, no safety car, Mikey. It's not, no, wrong."
Yeah, and I want to touch on this a bit more.
Go for it.
And bear in mind, I am a Max, and I'm a Max fan, and I like Red Bull, but McLaren is my team. Mm-hmm. But I do like Red Bull mainly because Max drives for them. Now people get on Horner's back and Jonathan Whiteley, rightly so. There are a bunch of whining fuckers on the radio most of the time. And a lot of the time I do find myself just thinking, will you shut up and wind your neck in? But it is what it is. Mercedes in the last few races have got progressively worse and worse and worse, to the point where I think they are worse than Red Bull at the moment. At the start of the race, Whiteley was trying to clarify with Michael Massey about giving the position back, and you can understand that. I'd expect any team principal to do that, especially when you're locked in a winner takes all championship fight. There's no two ways about it. It was winner takes all. on Sunday. So for a team principal who is as powerful and influential as Toto to come on and say, no safety car, fuck off.
Yeah.
A decision like that is made in the name of safety. It's not there to, despite what anybody might think, it's not there to change the order, to bunch the pack up, to do anything of this. Massey is not going to throw out a safety car just to spice the race up. Despite what some people may think, and I'm not saying that you think that, Tom, because I don't think you do, but I have seen some comments saying that. And for Toto to say, "Oh, Mikey boy, by the way, it's not the right time for a safety car." Who the hell is Toto to say that?
Yeah, it's completely wrong.
I'll shut up in a minute about it. I promise. I think
you're grand. Keep them going.
Yeah, I think Toto,
not that bad to talk about.
I think Toto should get pulled up on it because Horner got pulled up for questioning one of the stewards in Qatar.
Hang on.
How is this that different?
I
if he's questioning.
No, the thing is, right, there should just be a blanket rule. If there is an incident, radio silence unless it is a safety issue. There should not be any of this thing. Why Mike Massey listens to anyone's discussion when there is an incident, and I'm saying incident because it's weird to call someone retiring and their engine slowing an incident, but while there is an incident happening, that should be like the safety of the track and the drivers and the audience and the marshals and everyone is more paramount than listening to any team captains. There should be just a radio silence. They shouldn't have any. I don't mind them talking to Massey once the thing's closed, going, "Oh, this is shit. Why have you done this?" Or before it, going, "Oh, what's your plan? What's going to happen?" But when it's actually happening, it shouldn't happen. There should be. It's a safety issue. My thought is that this whole thing with Michael Massey is that, like, and Ruby on the other show said, if the kitchen's too big, get out. But the kitchen is too big. That's the part of the problem. And if you can't, and he can't cope on. There's no way that someone's brain can be worrying about the safety of everyone in the place and worrying about what the team principals want and how they're going to plan the race to start again. Should there not be sort of two jobs in there?
The trouble is, Massey is doing about four people's jobs, which is what Charlie Whiting was doing before. But Charlie Whiting had Herbie Blash as his right-hand man the whole time. So, Michael's got no one. And, I go back to last season, around sort of Mugello time, even before Mugello, I was criticising Massey then. I think I referred to him as Michael, I think I'm a rock star Massey in one episode. Because he's... Yeah, you see him, the way he carries himself, and he does, like, he just sees, and the way, it might just be...
he's definitely there for the Instagram.
Yeah, it might just be the way, like, his accent comes across, but he always sounds like he's condescending and arrogant, and again, that might just be the way that his natural accent sounds when he's talking, because I know sometimes it does come across like that, so I don't want to, be kind of culturally intolerant here.
All Michael Massey wants is the blue tick. He's one of those people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's literally what he's after, isn't he?
He's not Matt Gallagher. Jesus.
I know, but he's trying to get up to that point.
Yeah, he's a twat.
He's trying to get up to that point of being a star, of being the big I am within Formula One. And he's not got enough money to own the place, so he's going to run it in a different way and control it in a different way. I wonder how much liberty is also in his ears about what's going on.
The jobs that he's doing, he's safety delegate, and he's also in charge of running the race, and he's also got to field these calls from the teams, and it's just too much. And the thing is, right, you're in a situation there, he's trying to get the race restarted, and then he's got Christian Horner bleating in his ear saying, you got to get these cars out the way. And I'm sure Toto's probably screaming something down there as well, but I'm picking on Horner because he's the one that was broadcasting.
That we all heard.
And then he's there trying to get the race restarted, and you can hear he's like audibly flustered, like he was in the previous race. Like, there's only so many buttons I can press. He's audibly flustered at that point, and it's
But that's completely understandable.
Yeah.
The guy is only human.
Yeah,
Even though he wants to be
point-
superhuman, he is only human at this point.
The point I'm getting at, right, he's trying to get the race restarted and he's trying to do the right thing for the race. But if you can't get the race restarted, then, we finish under safety car. Or you red flag it like you did in Baku with 2 laps to go, And I understand, there's nothing in the rules that says you can do a red flag for the sake of the show. But I personally think if that was in the rules,
if a car spun out in the wrong place,
no, but it wasn't a red flag situation because there was no damage to barriers. It wouldn't have been right to call a red flag there. But if in the regulations it said if a safety car is required in the last 10% of a race, then it's a red flag to then promote.
Sorry, I disagree, Tom. I disagree with this safety car. If a car is facing the wrong way, as it was, there was a fire. If we're talking about Latifi, we're jumping on here. There was a fire. The car was facing the wrong way, and there was marshals on the track.
Yeah.
And the cars are still going around at 70 miles an hour. Okay? Whether they are behind the safety car or not. Anything going past 70 miles an hour, and there is a bit of debris on that ground, which then pierces a tyre and flies that car off into the marshals. As soon as the car's like that, the safety car is completely pointless, apart from being a massive advert for Aston Scheiten.
No. Well,
that's the only thing. There is no reason for a safety car. Just red flag it, and then that way we know where we're at.
I don't think we should have red flags every time there's an incident because it just turns it into a bit of a farce.
Yeah. I don't agree with red flagging for every time there is an incident.
So going pointlessly round in laps is. Well, I don't get it.
What the safety car does is it bunches up the field and then allows the marshals to be on track for a couple of minutes at a time to then clear that and make it safe. And the idea is
Tom, we've all seen them. We've all seen that marshals clearing off a car and then all the cars going around them, flying past them. We've all seen it. It's happened many times. So that's not safe. No, unless that car's doing 30 miles an hour, as I am on these roads, 35, twice as hard as. So if they're doing fucking 70 miles an hour.
They follow the safety car around, and then because they know where the incident is. But they know where the incident is, and they're told, "Oh, stopped car in turn 13, double yellows or whatever." And then what happens is the safety car will slow right down for that section of the track, take them through in a safe manner. If it means taking them off the track, you'll take them off the track. You follow the safety car through that, and then once you're past the hazard, that's when you start warming your tyres up again and all that kind of stuff.
And that's usually where we hear drivers say, "Oh, the safety car's driving too slow," blah blah blah.
Yeah, but also we had the incident with it behind the safety car this year. I think it was this year of Russell doing a squirrel moment. No, it might have been last year.
It was Imola last year
doing a squirrel moment, and I think we saw someone else do it as well. There are things that do happen, and it just feels like safety cars are completely pointless in my mind. Just stop the fecking race. Let's get everyone in. No, you can't change your fecking tyres every time there's a red flag.
I agree with that.
I completely.
Let's get them in. Let's get them in. Let's sit them there. Let's keep them warm. Let's funnel them with air, whatever we need. Keep them cool. Keep them warm, whatever we need. And then get back out there. Do one lap behind the safety car just to get them going, and then let them go. This whole thing of doing 10, 15 laps behind a safety car, or whatever we did, 6 laps behind the safety car.
Just time? 4, I think it was.
4. But it's still, that's 4 times 5 minutes? That's 20 minutes of going around behind a safety car, which we could have pulled everyone into the pits, cleared the car a lot safer, and then everyone's on the level pegging on that one. And we still have the same issue with the safety car of bunching it up, which might be a strategic and fun thing for everyone to watch. I get that. But there's no point doing safety cars going round and round, and when we could red flag it, and especially when it's the end of a season and championships decided on it. But these yellow flags and safety cars have caused so many issues throughout the season.
It's the inconsistency of the stewards that's caused the issues, and that's what I think.
But it's hard because they're not the same people.
Yeah,
they're all very different, and they're different cultures, rules, and regulations.
This is a common complaint, but I do have to say that the stewarding. I know it's different people, but what it is you've got a pool of about 7 stewards, 3 of which are always there, and the others are contactable for discussions, and then you have a local person and a driver representative. So you normally have 5 stewards there at the race, but it's 3 of 7, a driver representative and a local representative. So there is a degree of consistency there. It's a common misconception that it's like, which 5 people are going to do it today? But again, the other people, if there's a case of a precedent that needs to be discussed, the other people are available for call-in, and well, not always, but they're available for call-in for questions of consistency. And so my problem is not necessarily with the stewarding. It's more with the race direction when he takes it upon himself to, I'm not going to refer that to the stewards. We're going to just do this.
But why not? But hang on. But why isn't everything not going to the stewards? The stewards should have the say of going, that was an issue. We're going to tell you about it. Not, we're not going to push it the other way around. The stewards should have that power.
My case as well, I don't think that the teams should be able to contact the race director. I think
they should have a designated person in the FIA they'll scream at.
Yeah,
that's fine. But it shouldn't be Michael Massey.
What I think it should be.
You'd want to scream at someone. Come on, if you're in football, you're screaming at the referee. Everyone's screaming at the bloody referee.
You should be able to raise a request for a conversation. And then somebody picks that up and then refers it to Michael Massey if it is needed. But it should be a case of if there's an incident on track that needs something to be discussed, then the race director can contact the team and say, hello, Jonathan, just want your opinion on that incident. What's your take on it? Because we need to discuss it with the stewards. Whether it be if you've got a Verstappen, Hamilton incident that happens, one goes off track and, like we had in turn 1, they can then contact Red Bull and say, what's your take on that? What we don't want is them getting on like Toto Wolff picking up the headphones and going, no, Mikey, that's so wrong. It's just... You shouldn't be able to goad him like that. And then Massey then comes back at the end of the race.
Why did he do that? It was so late as well.
Yeah.
We actually saw it happen, and it was so late. It was just
it was desperation.
But why? What's he going to do now? It's already happened, mate.
But then after that, Massey then, he's clearly he's visually he's audibly flustered. He then comes back. It's called a motor race, Toto. We went motor racing, and it's like...
But haven't they been saying
we went motor racing?
Race?
It's just clearly he was in a position there where he was just like, I don't care about Toto, because he's probably pissed off of him from what he said earlier in the race. He shouldn't be in that situation where he's having to make that decision and he's making emotional responses. That's my opinion. And he shouldn't be in that position because he shouldn't be being goaded by the team principal.
Yeah. There is no reason for the principals to be involved.
So what else?
The race director.
What else will be changed then? Because I think there's a need for change. There's currently there's a petition going around which is targeting 7,500 signatures. Last I checked, it was up to 7,000 signatures. I personally haven't signed it because I'm not really.
Okay, which says what?
Michael Massey should be removed from his role.
No. Michael Massey has done nothing wrong. He has done nothing wrong with what he's been given. No, sorry, Tom. If you're given the power to do whatever you want, you will take that power and do whatever you want with it for whatever you think is right. He has done. If there is nothing that he has done wrong, there's nothing illegal that he has done. There is nothing that's against what?
He's broken the rules.
Which rule? Which rule?
Broken.
Do you want me to? I don't really want to go around quoting the regulation numbers, but there's regulations in there. Now I know that there is a get out regulation which then says the race director can do whatever he wants, basically.
Precisely. When you give someone that power, you've got to let them have that power.
Basically, what is the point? We may as well have the regulations on a fag packet then, because the rest of the regulations are completely irrelevant if someone can just come in and say, we're not going to do it regularly. What he could do, he could then say, right, we're going to have 6 lights instead of 5 today, or he could say the race is now 10 laps longer. Go. It turns it into fucking WWE. It turns it into entertainment, and it brings the whole sport into disrepute. Sport needs to have rules, and those rules need to be followed. You can't, like in football. Can you imagine if the referee then said, "Oh, we're going to have 95 minutes now instead"? Because
but hang on, no, that's not what happens, and you know that's not what happens.
It is because he made up.
No. The referee makes up whatever he thinks is right at that point, even in football. And there's been decisions which I am sure you have been aware of where things will be decided on that referee's ref choice that have decided championship matches and premiership wins and whatever because of a referee's decision. That's all that he is doing, is deciding. He is refereeing
those decisions are interpretations of rules. He doesn't then make up a rule, which is
so
what
the
Massey
F1
did there.
is.
There's nothing in the rules.
That's what the football is.
There's nothing in the rules that says you should allow 5 cars through and then let the safety car go at the end of that lap. To say if you let the lap cars through, then it says in the regulations, once any lapped cars go past the safety car will come in at the end of the following lap. That's what the regulation says.
What should Massey done?
As I said in my review, the options that Massey had at his disposal were, one, it wouldn't have necessarily been the right thing to do, but he could, within the regulations, have red flagged the race, which I don't think he should have done, and it wouldn't really have been right. He could have then allowed all of the lap cars to then overtake, but then the race would have basically finished under safety car, or if it had have got going, then, or again, not allow them to overtake, and then Verstappen would have had 5 cars to then blast past on the first straight. He might have had a go at Hamilton in the final sector because he would have got past him straight away. They would have all pulled to one side down the back straight for him. So he would have closed up to Hamilton, maybe had a chance to get him in the final sector. And that would have, to be fair, that for me would have been the right thing to do. Because that way, there's no advantage. Hamilton's lost his 12-second advantage, but he's gained a few cars behind him. Max has obviously got much better tyres. But I'd just like to qualify this as well. Max Verstappen, what a world champion. Fully deserved, absolutely. And I do not want anything to change that. I think he's a fully deserved world champion. But
I don't think anyone can disagree with that. I don't think anyone in this room...
My opinion...
But that's not...
Yeah, they do, and I've heard them.
Sorry, how can they not say he's a world champion? He won more races than Max or whatever, and...
he did. So he won 10, Hamilton won 8.
Yeah, so he won more races. It's just the way the points were, that was the only reason they were tied. It was just the way of seconds and timings and everything.
Hang on, if you went
in football again of wins versus losses, Max had more wins than losses. I know it's
but equally,
basic.
if Hamilton had won that last race, they would have been level on race wins.
I thought you said one had 10 and one had 8. Oh right, 10.
Yeah. If Hamilton would have won the race, it would have been 9-9.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I get that, but do you know what I mean? It's sort of like you can't say he's not a worthy champion. Unlike you can say Hamilton's not a worthy champion. Both of those people were world champions going into that race. They could have both of them could have been crowned, and neither would have made any difference. You can't. Both of those were very good drivers with very good cars that were very good, that had a very good season. And the fact that the proof pudding is they did end up tied on points. So
I was just going to say, what I think for the way the season panned out, I think Max Verstappen was the better driver over the course of the season. He just shaded Hamilton. Hamilton made a couple of mistakes. Verstappen made a couple of mistakes as well. He was a bit too aggressive at times. He was pushing the envelope, and Hamilton had a bit of a slow. I mean, he won the opening races. Middle of the season, he had a bit of a slow patch. He was making a few mistakes. He was backing out of things a little bit. So over the course of the season, Verstappen for me was overall the better driver and deserved it slightly more than Hamilton. But equally, if Hamilton had won the last race, then he still would have been equally as deserving, because he would have then, he fully deserved to win that race on Sunday. Absolutely. But Max has had a lot of bad luck, and that for me evens out the luck over the course of the season. Because, you look at Baku, that's 25 points lost. But then Hamilton's bad luck, which you could say he contributed to with the brake magic, pressing the button there, he's then lost potentially 25 points there, minimum of 18. So he's they've both had bad luck at times, but Verstappen's had slightly more bad luck. But I think that pretty much evens up with the huge safety car swing, because he was nowhere in that race at the end.
Yeah, I think it's still like either one of those could have been champions, and I wouldn't have cared either way. And it's not because I'm a neutral. It's because they were both world champion drivers, and it's to have that, and it would be, at least it's better than having a runaway person winning it, like they have the last few years.
Yeah, I just think that it's completely soured the end of what was a phenomenal season for me, and that's because of we shouldn't be talking about the officiating. We should be talking about the racing, and we're not, and that is fundamentally wrong in my mind. I don't think Massey should lose his job, but I do think that it needs to be looked at, and the way the rules are applied needs to be looked at. I think he's got too much on his plate. I think there needs to be 2 or 3 people doing that role, and they're all working together, so that there's not one person.
I think we could all
having
agree
to
on that.
field all these questions.
But like, sorry, I'm just grabbing onto the chat here. Bed's saying, "Is it F1 purists via F1 casuals?" And I sort of do agree with that. I mentioned it a couple of times. It's obviously you guys are the purists sort of side, but I'm coming in more as a casual. I'm moving slightly over to purist. Don't get me wrong, but like the casual side of it is it is entertainment. It is on my TV. That is entertainment in the same way football, all sport is entertainment. Obviously it's a matter of big money going backwards and forwards as well, but it is entertainment at the end of the day, and it's sponsorship, and that's why we all tune in. So is this actually going to, I don't think this is going to affect Formula One. I don't think this is turning Formula One into a laughing stock. I think this is turning Formula One into something that's been spoken about and still being spoken about in the news and was headline news. And it still caused, Hamilton not speaking at his knighthood is, that's still causing news in Ireland, and this is the thing, is that like this, I don't think this is a bad thing for the sport. I think this is possibly a commercial thing, and people and I said this actually last week, is that originally as a casual, I preferred all the smashes and bangs and craziness. I'm learning to enjoy the racing now, but to get people in, you've got to then get people.
I completely agree and get your point on that, but I just think there is this fine line. You have sports like snooker, you have entertainment like Neighbours, and then you have sports entertainment like WWE. So it's, what are you trying to achieve here? Because there's a fine line. Because if you have a sport that's entertaining or sports entertainment, they're two very different things. And Formula One has to be very careful, because if they go down the sports entertainment route, it takes away from the validity of it as a sport, and then no longer becomes entertaining in my mind. So if you have something that's akin to NASCAR, you have. Remember that old football advert in the UK? Added time multi-ball. If we start just throwing in things like that just to spice up the racing, and we've said we don't want gimmicks. That's the reason we don't have reverse grid races, because we don't want gimmicks. We want the integrity of the sport.
Oh no, we just have the sprint races instead.
Well, at least sprint racing is pure competition. It's not a gimmick. It is still a competition. It's still a race between the cars on track. It's not something about, let's have performance ballast. Let's put the fastest people at the back and watch them overtake and hope they crash into somebody else and ruin their race.
No, what we do is put all the fastest at the front and wonder why they've all got massive gap and no one's overtaking.
Yeah, but hopefully the 2022 regulations will sort some of that out, and we'll have cars that can follow closer and actually race better. But still, my point there is still that we just got to be careful and where we go with this, because if I can see that they see how many people have come in because Netflix have been over dramatizing it and making it look more exciting than it is. That's brought fans in.
I mean, they had a field day this season, didn't they?
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah, but Netflix will sort of fuck it up somehow.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's all going to be in Austria, guys. The whole show.
I'll watch Drive to Survive, but I really didn't enjoy the last season. I really enjoyed the first season. Second season was okay, and last season I didn't enjoy. I'll still watch it because it's Formula One content.
But without Drive to Survive, I'd never got my wife into Formula One, which means I wouldn't be allowed to be here now.
Quite possibly, yeah.
That's the reality of it. That is really the reality of it.
Yeah, and I do think Drive to Survive has done good things for Formula One.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm not saying it's not, but I don't like the way they over-dramatized Grosjean's crash last year, for example.
Fuck!
Well, I
Overlaid.
have to say, the dramatization of Grosjean's crash, apparently, I haven't looked into this factually, but apparently what they did there, where they had the long spells of them looking, apparently the timings they used for that were accurate, but as in they covered bits, but then obviously I know they kept cutting to shots of him in the flames and getting out, but apparently the timing that took was accurate to what actually happened.
happening.
He
was in there for 3 minutes or something.
No, it's like 45 seconds.
Was
he
he?
in there for?
I thought he was in there longer.
No, I thought he was in there for 27 seconds.
Yeah, I think the act between the point of the impact and him being clear of the wreckage was 45 seconds or something like that. But either way, yeah. Either way, it's
27 seconds according to Google.
Okay, fine. But yeah,
I've got an interesting point for you.
Go on then.
Go on.
Seen this within the last half hour. I'm just going to bring this over to my other screen.
Go for it.
Look at everyone with 2 screens. I'm stuck with my 1 at the moment.
I got 3.
Peasant.
I've got another one upstairs. Actually, I've got a big one next to me. I just haven't actually connected it. Go on.
Well, there we are. We've been talking about the officiating. It's been a statement from the FIA.
Oh, hang on, wait.
We refer to Michael Massey.
wait there. Wait just there.
Breaking news!
There we go.
Nice. Okay, so it says... okay, so the headline at the top of the page says, on Sunday, another FIA F1 World Champion season of competitive excellence has concluded, and the credit goes to the participating drivers and teams. The FIA congratulates all of them for their performances this year. It was a hard fight, and the best competition was displayed at each Grand Prix. We scroll down a bit, flick through some of the waffle. It's basically just praising the drivers. But there's a line here. It says, the 2021 FIA Formula One Abu Dhabi Grand Prix has prompted a large number of reactions from the F1 community and from motorsport in general, as well as in the public. The FIA's primary responsibility at any event is to ensure the safety of everyone involved and the integrity of the sport. I'm not going to read everything because there's quite a bit here. TLDR, the FIA is looking at the use of the safety car when the Latifi came out. And they are, and it says here, let me just rub my eye. It says, this matter will be discussed and addressed with all the teams and drivers to draw any lessons from the situation and clarity to be provided to the participants, media, and fans about the current regulations to preserve the competitive nature of our sport while ensuring the safety of all the drivers and officials. It's not only Formula One that may benefit from this analysis, but also more generally, all the other FIA circuit championships.
Good. Well, at least they're looking at it. That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like they're looking at that safety car and whether it should have just been a red flag. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And then that would have been, I mean, from a race point of view and a safety point of view, everyone would have been.
As I said before, I'm not massively against if they have a rule in place because, say, IndyCar and NASCAR and lots of other sports, they have a rule. They want to try and finish under green where possible. You've seen the Indy 500 will throw a red flag if it's close to the end of the race, so they can try and finish under green flag running. And I've got no issue with if there is a safety car worthy incident in the final phase of the Grand Prix that automatically is a red flag. Even if it's a then safety car start. It doesn't have to be a standing start, but even if it's then a safety car start.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I said earlier.
It would have
exactly
been,
what I said earlier.
Yeah. Well, I tried to say, but you interrupted me. But yeah, but yeah, there's one more thing I want to talk about with regards to the
cats away,
too.
Tom.
I did. That was Tom that made that noise.
Rather catty. No, it's rather catty from you. Yeah. Go on.
So at the moment the safety car came out, there was a broadcast that came across Lewis Hamilton team radio. The team radio was beep.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that one.
Yeah.
Just a second beep.
Yeah. So I was interested in this, and I was like, my God, what would he have said? So I went on the F1 TV and looked at the onboard from that section, and because I wanted to hear what he said, because it's completely uncensored on F1 TV. Do you know what he said?
I don't know.
No, go on.
The radio broadcast was double wave yellow in turn 14, car stopped on track, proceed with extreme caution. Ah, shit, man.
They put a 7-second beep in for that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that is the whole point that I'm getting on about this. They're just making out like he's having this massive abusive tirade over the radio. And I guarantee there's people out there saying, oh, look, Lulu's getting all stressed again. And, but it's like, he's literally, oh, shit, man. That's all he said.
That was all it was.
Yeah, it's just lies. You say it yourself, Carl. They lied. They
yeah, but
lied.
we all know that. And this is Liberty Media making it up as we go along. But this is why they brought the FIA radio in, because it was so interesting and so you can make so many stories out of it. And then you're saying it's not entertainment, but Liberty Media is making it entertainment by all the radio inputs, by all the other stuff that they're putting in, and all the dash cams, or not dash cam, helmet cams and everything else. They are trying to make this entertainment, and it is going that way.
Do you want to? I said to you earlier, I had a won and lost theory that I wanted to share with you, but I'll do it at the end in context, and I completely forgot about it. Do you know when I think...
We're near the end.
Well, near the end of everything that we discussed to do with these two guys. So, do you know when I think the moment Max Verstappen potentially won the World Championship was? Qualifying Q2. When he locked up that set of medium tyres and then had to go out again on softs. And then that way, having to pit on lap 13, Hamilton having to cover him, being on those really old tyres at the end, and then having to cover Verstappen meant that he then had to try and pass Perez on track. If any of those things didn't happen, Hamilton has a big enough gap to Verstappen to, under the VSC or under the safety car, pit and come out in front. And then he wins the World Championship. So I think that's the moment where he lost it. Q2. Qualifying 2. When Verstappen locked up his front.
Can we just question?
Go on.
Anyone else in the race?
Yeah.
Let's move on a bit down the field, shall we?
Yeah. I mean, Carlos Sainz, phenomenal podium. I mean, he was in P4 and then Perez
he was
retired.
There was a bit of luck there. Yeah. Why did Perez retire then?
So there's two theories on this. Number one.
Well, I know the official line.
The official line was engine was marginal, and we didn't want him to stop on track, causing a delay and a further delay to the safety car.
That's the official.
The unofficial conspiracy theory is that they short-fueled him. Conspiracy theory. They short-fueled him so that he could be more competitive when he's racing Hamilton, and that he was never ever going to finish the race anyway, and they were just fuel saving in the final stages. And then he wasn't going to finish. So instead of him running out of fuel and stopping on track,
that's bullshit. I mean, that's just very I wouldn't
be surprised. And there's no rule against it.
Is there no rule against it?
There's no rule against it.
And the same rule as no rule in just retiring whenever the fuck you feel like it. It
doesn't make any sense to not give a car enough fuel, because then you're massively uncompetitive if you want to try and finish the race. But people have done it in the past when they've thought, oh, we're never gonna, the car's not reliable, we're never gonna finish the race. Let's just short fuel it, and then we might get some sponsorship out of it because it looks like we're quick. So it's happened in the past. So I wouldn't be surprised. Because the last thing I want to do is for him to run out of fuel on track and then delay the safety car. But they're obviously trying to hold on for the podium. And then if he's running out of fuel, then, let's just bring him in because he's not going to get to the end. But, I mean, I don't think that's what happened. It's an interesting conspiracy theory, but...
No, I generally think there was something on the telemetry that was just a bit questionable. And it was either... We go out now or we don't go. Yeah.
Well, it didn't affect anything. They were never going to win the Constructors' Championship because Bottas was too close.
Can we also question why Norris is having so many tyres?
It was a slow puncher, wasn't it?
But why? Why is he the one that keeps getting them?
Yeah, that's the last 3 races he's had slow punctures.
Is it the 3 races? I thought it was just
because he had one in Qatar. Didn't he have a puncture in Saudi? Or am I imagining that? I can't remember. Okay, it might just be Qatar and Saudi.
No, he definitely had one recently when he was looking good for a finish, but I can't remember, to be honest.
I'm sure it was Qatar.
Yeah,
I thought it was Saudi.
I thought it was Saudi because he was up quite high and then came in. Anyway, either way,
I'm sure it was both.
Okay,
yeah, then that makes it 3 and 3.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it just his driving style? Oh, there's a cat.
Hello. Aww. That's a different podcat. We have a different podcat today.
Yeah, that's not.
Aww, that's cute.
That's not Horrocks' cat. That's Downey's cat.
Yeah.
So what is going on with his tyres? Is it just his driving style, or is it just?
I think it's just
is there a problem with those Pirelli tyres.
I think it's just bad luck in this case because he hasn't had a problem all year. It's just been the last couple of races, but it's just a shame because he was looking good. But he did, which we'll get onto in the standings. He did move ahead of Leclerc because Leclerc had a bad race, and he finished...
That was too funny. Sainz, who was in 7th, is now 4th.
Yep.
Third.
Fifth.
Sorry, 5th.
Oh, sorry, in the drivers,
Yeah.
He was 7th.
He was now 5th.
Yeah.
That's just hilarious.
But did you see, because obviously a lot of stuff got missed in the last lap, but when the last lap started, Sainz was 3rd, Bottas was 4th, Tsunoda was 5th, Gasly was 6th. And then Tsunoda and Gasly got past Bottas, dropping him down to 6th. And Bottas was behind Sainz, who was also on old tyres, and he was weaving to try and get some temperature in. And Bottas come up behind him at the turn 4 hairpin, and it looked like Bottas had a good run on. Looks like Bottas had a good run on Sainz, was positioning to get just behind him, ready for the back straight, and then Tsunoda comes out of nowhere, just dive bombs him up the inside. And then he goes to position himself to try and retake him on the straight. He's getting right up in his slipstream. And then on his right, there's Gasly bombing past him as well. Both of them stopping under safety car. And so they both go past it.
It's like, where did they come from? Because, they did, and
then the next
no
turn,
one had any understanding of that. Because you didn't see any of it.
Gasly goes on the outside of Tsunoda to try and get him going into the hotel complex. And then Tsunoda fully puts him off the track with some aggressive defending. I was like, yeah, go on, Yuki. And then he pushes him off the track.
That'd be all the Alex Albon training that he's been getting.
Yeah, exactly. But that was phenomenal. That was a really great last lap from Yuki Tsunoda. And then getting that 4th place, phenomenal result for him. And that's just what he needed going into next season. I hope he's better next season because
now his tutor's gone to Williams.
Yeah, well, he's shown some steel now, and he's started off with a good race in Bahrain. Then he's had a really bad middle section of the season, and now he's kind of the last few races. I think he's definitely shown he's got something.
He's definitely improved. And in Saudi, he was on for a decent result, but he just made a sort of clumsy error with Vettel. But something like that will come with experience and age.
I don't think he's anything great though. I don't think he's in the Lando Russell era that we're seeing there for the next 15 years, and it's going to be Germans.
He's not. He's halfway between that lot and Latifi.
So Gasly then?
No, he's behind. I'd put Gasly in with that lot.
Would you? You think Gasly's going to be there for the next 15 years, fighting for championships?
If he can get the right seat.
But what seat is he ever going to go to?
Mercedes 2023.
What, when Hamilton
tires?
It'll be 24, wouldn't it? He's got 2-year contract still.
But I thought 2021 was the first year of that 2-year contract.
Yeah. No. At the end of 2020, he signed a 1-year deal to the end of 2021, and then 3 months into the season, he signed a 2-year deal.
He signed a 2-year deal. Yes. Yeah. So
he's in there until 2023.
So 2024.
2023 will probably be.
I reckon Ocon's got that chair.
It depends on what he does. I mean, let's talk about Ocon because he was dead close to Alonso at the end of the season. There, the Alpine number 2 just sneaking ahead of Ocon at the end of the season there.
And Ocon is a Wolf boy.
He is still linked to that.
Was I don't know if he still is.
I think he still is. I think he
still
still has links. He's not
managed. He's managed.
That's right. And he's not a Mercedes driver anymore.
No, he's managed by Toto personally.
Yeah. He has a link.
He's not a Mercedes driver.
Yeah.
But
that's a personal link as well.
And look what he did for Bottas in 2017.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got him in that seat. But I think I think next season, if that car is more competitive, I think Alonso's going to have his work cut out to keep him behind him. Yeah. Genuinely do.
Let's not forget Ocon won a race this year.
Well, yeah, but
I know
he won it.
Fluke.
He won it. It was a 7-10
in the
split.
same way Russell got second. You know.
No, to be fair,
it was a bit of luck.
Russell got second because he put in a phenomenal qualifying performance, whereas Ocon was so far back that he was the only one not affected by the shunt, and then just drove through like the Red Sea parted, and he drove through into that. But props to the guy. He was out in front. He won a race like Sebastian Vettel won 4 World Championships.
But also, he was in Saudi Arabia. He was out front.
Yeah, as I mean, I think he's a very similar driver to Vettel. If you put him in a decent car, where he can get out front, he will not buckle under the pressure. He can put in decent lap times. He kept Sebastian Vettel behind him for most of the race. I do think that if Hamilton had got up to him a few laps earlier, with Alonso not blocking him, then the biggest paid milk float in Formula One there, Fernando Alonso. It's.
That was a dig at someone.
Yeah,
I think has left. I think has left.
I think he's still in the chat, and I'm desperately just trying to goad him to put a comment in about Alonso because the world champion that's amazing at driving slowly. That's great. Yeah, well, good. Thanks for coming back, Fernando. Made a big difference. I think if you put him in a position where he's driving up front in a decent car, I think he'll win races. In a decent car, he will win races if he gets into that position because he's not going to buckle under the pressure. So yeah, it's good. But I did think it was nice of Alfa Romeo to give Bottas their car a race early, so he could try it out at Abu Dhabi and just paint it black. Because that must have been an Alfa, surely. He was so terrible in the race, really.
Yeah, but how many times have we seen that from Bottas?
Yeah, but I mean this as well. I mean Hamilton had so much pace, but Bottas was just stuck. I know he wasn't able to pit under the safety car either, but he was still behind Carlos Sainz, genuinely. And then ended up getting done by 2 AlphaTauris at the end of the season on the last lap.
Yeah. And if that would have been Hamilton in that position, he'd have done something a tad different.
Yeah, definitely. But as well, Hamilton's defence of Verstappen was gallant on that last lap, given the tyre advantage Verstappen had. But it was gallant, but yeah, he was always getting through. Yeah. There's no way that wasn't going to happen. Yeah. But what do we think about... I'll just quickly touch on the standings, just in case anyone who doesn't know. So it was obviously driver standings, Max Verstappen winning on 395.5 points. Lewis Hamilton, 387.5 points in second. Bottas got third, 226. Perez, fourth, 190. Carlos Sainz, fifth, 164.5. Lando Norris retakes sixth with 160. And then Charles Leclerc, 159 in seventh. Ricciardo gets 8th place with 115 points. Then it's Gasly on 110, Alonso 81, Ocon 74. And then we got Vettel 43, Stroll 34, things that people don't care about following that. Constructors' Championship won by Mercedes, 613.5 points. Red Bull, 585.5 points second. Ferrari, 323.5 points, comfortably ahead of McLaren on 275.
How did Bottas beat Perez this year? I can't wear that one out.
Because Perez was very inconsistent. Bottas actually had a much better season than we thought. Alpine 155, AlphaTauri 142, Aston Martin terrible season 77, Williams 23, Alfa Romeo 13.
Imagine being Bottas going to Alfa Romeo. Imagine being that person. I'm in Mercedes. I'm third in championship. And now I'm
and it's gone.
Driving this pile of shit around the track.
Yeah.
Even if it was good, even if their car is amazing next year, I can't imagine how you're still driving an Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, the thing is, everyone's saying 2022 is when we're going to make big strides, but
every team's going to make big strides, and I don't think anything's going to change.
I think something is going to change, and it's going to be Mercedes back out front by the country mile.
You reckon? Is that it?
And the reason I think that is because they obviously were very heavily affected by this low rake philosophy being affected by the regulation changes. But next season, the low rake design philosophy is going to be far more beneficial. And they are the team that are most experienced at that, and they've clearly switched off development very early, and they've just been tuning this year's car. They didn't actually use their development tokens this year, so that for me is ominous. I think it's going to be Mercedes, Ferrari battling for the championship next year with Red Bull.
I mean, I'd like to see
behind.
that. I'd love to see Sainz and Leclerc.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Sainz, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell fighting it out for races.
That'd be interesting.
And then you'll have McLaren and Red Bull just a little bit behind. And then you'll probably Aston Martin have got to get better. They can't be as bad as they were this year, but I'm not sure they're going to be ready yet to start.
No, they're staying in fifth. They're staying in fifth at the very best.
Well, yeah, they were saying.
No, sorry, at the very best. That's what I'm saying. They're going up to fifth.
Yeah, I think they'll be closer, but I don't think they'll be in that battle. AlphaTauri, I don't think will be up there. They built a very good car this year, but it's a whole new formula.
So Laura reckons it's going to be the year of McLaren, and Ferrari will not do good next year.
I think
I don't
Ferrari
know on
would-
what story she's what she's basing that on.
Well, I hope she's right. Don't get me wrong. I hope she's right.
Yeah,
But,
we all do.
But I think Ferrari are on a great trajectory. And
But this is the thing. We like to predict next year. It's so hard because between 21 and 22, it's easier to predict because you had the same car ish, the same regulations, the same tires, same everything. I mean, we're now jumping onto 18 inches. We're now changing all the format. What?
Sorry, jumping onto 18 inches. We're all used to doing that. Don't worry, carry on.
I don't want to know about your bedroom anti-cheating.
Tumbleweed.
And we're all going to change the car. Everything's going to be changed the car. We've got different drivers in different places, which is slightly different, but it's slightly the normal from every season. But I think this season it's going to be different because there is a lot of changes in between teams. There's not that many newbies coming in. How many newbies is there? 2? If you count.
We got Zhou.
We've got Zhou.
Have we got anyone else coming in? Albon coming back. So that's not really.
Albon coming back, so you sort of count him as a newbie again.
Yeah.
I know he's not.
Well, hang on. We got Giovinazzi and Raikkonen leaving. So is that the only two that
Bottas
are
is
going?
going in there. No,
yeah. I'm saying, but if we got 2 leaving, then we got 2 coming in.
Yeah, Albon
So
and
it's Albon and Zhou.
Zhou.
So there's no actual rookies coming in next year then,
no,
apart from Zhou.
Yeah, apart from Zhou, but he's not.
So Zhou's rookie of the year, whatever happens.
Well, yeah.
He's rookie of the year by default.
Yeah.
I love how last year we all said, well, Latifi's going to be rookie of the year then because he was the only rookie. And then personally, I thought Jack Aitken was rookie of the year based on his one performance in Sakir.
Yeah. But I was, but I like Mazepin is going to be still shit.
Yeah, well, if Haas are better, then he might.
Well, I hope that Haas are better purely for Michael Schumacher's sake. Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, but how long before Mick goes somewhere else?
Where? This is the problem. Everyone keeps saying where they're going to go. Here's a Ferrari driver. The only place he can go is Ferrari. Sainz and Leclerc aren't going to give up those spaces easily, and they're not going to. And they're good. Both of those are good drivers. Where are all these? Yeah, they need a better driver. Where are the Gasly's going to go? Where's the Snowden's going to go? Where are the?
Snowden's not going to go anywhere.
Snowden's not going to go anywhere.
Bottas has got a 2-year deal. Zhou, I think he's only got a 1-year deal.
Bottas is on the way out.
Bottas
is on his way out anyway. He's retiring after 2 years. Let's be honest.
Maybe not.
Well, where else is he going to go? Still Raikkonen sit in a shit car for the next 20 years.
Well, he might drive really well at Aston and end up getting into a different team. He might end up driving for Alpine or something.
I reckon Vettel will be on his way out soon.
Yeah,
Vettel will be on his way out
potentially. Yeah,
Danny Rick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Danny Rick is on his way out. Danny Rick will probably stick it out there unless he gets booted out.
I've heard some people say that they think that Bottas is not actually going to be driving for Alfa Romeo next year because Hamilton's going to retire, and then they're going to bring Bottas back. It's bullshit. It's all based on that one interview, isn't it? Where he said, "Oh, let's see what happens next year."
Yeah, he said that the other year. The thing is, Hamilton's get better every year. He's going to see out that contract. He's going to see what the new regs are like.
Oh, is that when Hamilton said, "Let's see what happens next year"?
Yeah, and then the Sun instantly ran a report saying Hamilton hints at retirement. It's like, no, he doesn't. They said, "Are you going to come back fighting next season?" He said, "Yeah, we'll see what happens." There's nothing to do with him retiring. It's just grasping at straws.
Sorry, I saw that interview and I did think it did seem a bit suspect. But after the heat of a race where you've just lost the championship, you're not going to be like and you're tired and you've done it 7 times. You would be reevaluating yourself as to when you're Hamilton and you're a global star anyway, and you don't really need the Formula One anymore.
Yeah. Well, he needs it. He needs it as a platform for all his other stuff he does. Basically,
no, he doesn't. Not anymore.
Unless you're anymore. Well,
like in the same way, Will Smith doesn't need to be a rapper. You know, there's other things that people can do.
But you're more relevant when you're involved in sport. You are still more relevant, and he's not going to come back and be a pundit, is he?
Sorry, David Beckham.
I said more relevant. I didn't say you just wouldn't be relevant anymore, but you would if David Beckham was still playing football. I mean, firstly, he'd be doing terrible because he's like 50 odd now. But secondly, you don't need to, but you need to be it's better if you're involved in the sport.
No, he's done his time.
Because where are you gonna get your headlines from?
You create them in other ways.
I might have to wrap
Did you
up
not
as well,
hear?
I'm
Did
afraid.
you not hear? Did you not hear the other on the Saudi grid talk that there was a script writer writing a script for him?
Anyway, sorry, Tom. Do you say you need to dash now? Do you?
Yeah, I might have to wrap up. I'm afraid.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
No
that's fine.
worries. I was just going to wrap up the Formula 2 standings anyway. So we'll
go to sleep then.
yeah, we'll let you go. Before you go, do you want us to travel us for your driver of the day?
Carlos Sainz.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
on
I think
Grid
it's
Talk,
going to be.
and
Yeah,
I think
it's still.
Actually, on a pod.
I think we said it was driver of the season.
Yeah, and Dick of the day. For me, it's a choice of two.
Toto Wolff.
It's either Toto Wolff or Michael Massey. I'm going with Toto Wolff.
I'm going with Toto Wolff.
Wow,
Yeah.
Unanimous. I don't think we've ever had unanimous driver and Dick of the day, especially with three people.
I think that one kind of voted itself.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't
Especially when he didn't shake Horner's hand at the end either.
Yeah.
he just
Just
ignored.
petulant.
Yeah.
Like,
Screw up.
absolutely. That's pure dickish. Making wrong decisions is not a dick. That's what we've always said. But doing what he did was being a dick.
Yeah,
Exactly.
great, cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Tom. Really appreciate
Tom.
you coming on.
No worries. That's good
And
fun.
we'll see you next year.
See you next
Yeah.
year.
See you next year.
Ciao, Bella.
Bye. Happy Christmas.
And ta-ra.
Laura's saying Carlos Sainz driver of the day. Jesus, even Laura
Yep.
agrees.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay, Laura, Dick of the day. Was it Toto Wolff? Get a clean sweep, even with the chat.
Anyway,
Well,
we've got because it's playing catch up. So
Yeah, while we're waiting for that to come through, then I'll just do a quick rundown on the Formula 2. We had 3 races at the weekend in the Formula 2, and race 1 saw Oscar Piastri see out the championship, which we kind of expected. He was so far ahead. Jane Deruvala won the first race with Djokovic second and Piastri coming home in third. Robert Schwartzman fourth with Guan Yu Zhou way back in 8th. That put Zhou back to third in the championship. Zhou won the second sprint with Schwartzman second and Boschong third with Ticktum in fourth. And then the feature race saw Piastri win from pole with Zhou second and Drogovic third. As a result, that meant that the standings are now Oscar Piastri well ahead, 252.5 points. Robert Schwartzman second with 192 and Zhou dropping
he's won
to
it now,
third.
hasn't he? Officially.
Well, yeah, because the season's over.
Oh.
And then Zhou 183 points in third.
I thought he'd won it. He'd won it on Saturday, didn't he?
No, yeah, as I said, he won it in the first sprint. Finishing on the podium in the first sprint, won in the championship. And yeah, Laura agrees. Toto Wolff, Dick of the day, fantastic. Dan Ticktum finished fourth in the end, a much better season for him, but still, left wanting. He was still in the championship fight with a few races to go, but his Jeddah and Yas Island races, he got 2 points, 8 points, half a point.
Island.
Yeah,
Yas Marina.
Well, that's the Yas Island. Yas Island is where it is, and
So it's the Yas Marina. Oh.
yeah, it's a marina on Yas Island. So he got he got a total of 10.5 points in Jeddah, and he got a total of 20 points in Abu Dhabi. Whereas you got Oscar Piastri scoring 39 points in Abu Dhabi. So it was a poor end to the season for him. So
Laura's going to screw everything up now.
Oh yeah, Laura's saying about. See, I was hoping somebody would say Perez for driver of the day, because I'm sorry, you cannot give driver of the day to someone who drives slowly for 3 corners. And is not driver of the day. So I disagree.
We gave driver of the day for someone that didn't even finish the race, retired and walked everything, and walked away.
What?
Kimi Räikkönen.
Was he the official driver of the day?
He was the official driver of the day.
I knew he would be. Everyone was going to do that. I knew he'd do that, and it's just ridiculous.
Followed by Perez, and I can't remember who else was third.
Yeah, that's joke. I don't care. They voted Verstappen as driver of the day in the last race, but he had 3 penalties applied because he was driving like a twat. So, yeah. Hey ho. So that's kind of it, really, for the season for us. I think we'll probably do a season review, probably start of the new year, or do you want to do it before? I don't know. We'll discuss it offline.
All right.
But yeah, we'll probably do a season review. Maybe do some features or something. Maybe have some maybe have some guests. Maybe do some awards or something like.
It's the final of the Extreme this weekend.
It is it was supposed to be last weekend in Argentina, But
And
now
it's this weekend in
we have
Dorset.
we have the Jurassic Grand Prix in Dorset.
In Dorset. I
Sorry,
think it's Dorset.
Jurassic X Prix. I beg your pardon. Sorry, Ian,
Yeah.
if you're listening. So yeah, Jurassic X Prix. Sorry, we haven't really picked up on Extreme E for this season, but it's been a hectic time. What we are going to do next year is we are going to streamline the podcast a little bit, focusing more on Formula One. You may have noticed we've done a bit less of everything. We will still talk about other formulas, but it's not going to have such a prominent
We just
feature.
haven't got the time to watch everything.
Yeah, and it's more the fact that we've done a bit of polling of listeners and stuff, and Formula One's what you're generally here for. We will still talk about. I'm still going to watch IndyCar. We're still going to talk about it to a degree, but it's not going to be like full race reviews and all that kind of stuff. We'll do special episodes. Like I'm sure we'll do an episode based purely around the Indy 500. We'll probably do a bit of a pre-season chat, and we'll probably do the same for Formula E as well and Extreme E, and we'll probably still talk about these series, but just not in as much detail as we have been, because it's a hell of a lot of work. So and it's just kind of us doing this out of the with the kind permission of our wives and children and families. So we need to feature them into our decisions as well. So this is not a profession. We're not here freelance broadcasters. We're here doing this in our spare time.
Or even wanting to be.
Yeah, and we are both incredibly busy people as well. So, apologies for those of you who listen purely for our IndyCar and Formula E content, but we're going to be...
Which we'll still pick up on the 500, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, and we will still talk about it, but it will be on a much more of like we just did for Formula 2. It'll be like a bit of a wrap-up, and if there's something we want to discuss, we'll talk about it, and we'll have on special episodes as well. But
talking about that, Pat Awards.
Yes, he did his. He was in the young driver test, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen how he did actually. I've not had a chance to look yet.
I think he did all right. I think Laura showed me.
Yeah, he was. He had his seat fitting a few weeks back, but yeah.
That was on a deal with Zach, wasn't it?
Yes. If you won an IndyCar race, and he won two. So.
Yeah. He gets to drive an
Cool.
F1 car.
Right. Well, let's wrap this up now. Then.
There we go. A bit of IndyCar.
Merry Christmas. Thank you,
I've got
everyone.
my tree behind me. Tom's got his Christmas hat on.
Yeah. Because if I didn't have the Christmas hat on, you'd just see a green screen. So, yeah.
All right.
So thank you very much for everyone for joining us for the season. It's been a great season. Shame how it ended, but we won't dwell on that. We will have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and we'll see you all in the new year.
See you in the new year. Bye. Or we might see you before. We're not sure.
Maybe.
We'll discuss that in a bit.
Yeah.
Yes, Laura. Yes, Laura, you do owe money. There we go.
Cool. Right.